I was sitting down with a couple recently, both in their early 60s, ready to retire after decades of saving and investing, building their financial independence. They'd done everything right. They were prepared. They paid off most of their mortgage, maxed out their 401k for years, decades really, and they built an impressive nest egg. But as we reviewed their plan, something stood out. It wasn't what they needed to add to the plan. It was really what they needed to get rid of. They were still carrying things that quietly weighed them down. They had a few lingering debts. They had a number of investment accounts scattered across a number of different custodians, making it very tough to track and manage. They actually have some costly insurance products that they're probably not going to need as they retire. And we also got into talking about their home and if it was really a good fit for retirement as well, large home with high carrying costs. So as this conversation developed, the more we cleaned up and thought about, reducing some of these items, the more confident they felt about actually stepping into retirement. The conversation reminded me of something I often talk to clients about. Retirement's not just about accumulation and wealth, it's about simplification. Because what you don't bring into retirement can matter just as much as what you do. It's similar when you think about your health, right? It's not about adding all these different supplements and vitamins and more and more. A lot of times it's just reducing, making it simpler, building off of the very strong foundation you already have. So today, I want to walk you through the 5 things you should seriously consider getting rid of before you retire so that your next chapter is lighter, clearer, and focused on what really matters. I'm Mike Colopy, a founding partner and wealth advisor at Veracity Capital. I help clients simplify their wealth strategy so they can retire with clarity, confidence, and purpose. And this topic, decluttering your financial life before retirement, is one that doesn't get talked about enough. Most people focus on, do I save enough? When should I take Social Security? When's the right time to retire? But the structure of your finances, what you carry into retirement, and frankly, what you leave behind, can have just as big an impact on your peace of mind. If you'd like to discuss your own personal situation with me, feel free to book time with the meeting link below. Now, first up is high interest debt. This may seem obvious, but we still see it as people are approaching retirement. I still meet people heading into retirement with high credit card balances or personal loans or lingering car payments that they just really gotten used to carrying. The problem is those balances don't disappear when your paycheck does. Unlike an investment return, interest charges are guaranteed. They're just not guaranteed to be in your favor. So if you're paying on some of these higher interest rate debts, it really should be time to address them, pay them down, think through from a tax standpoint, what's the most optimal way to do it. It may even be just having a little extra savings. It may even be reducing your 401k contributions to help pay down these high debt accounts you have outstanding. Now, the second item is complex or overlapping investment accounts. Clutter is very challenging, and we've all heard the saying, if you can measure, you can manage. And this is what I see as a common issue, is that when folks are investing, they think more, complication, sophistication, complexity, like these are things that improve performance, more activity, better performance. That is a misconception. That is not true. What I see is when we have multiple custodians, multiple different account types, money in all these different buckets, it can be very challenging to make good decisions from an allocation standpoint, a tax standpoint, a withdrawal standpoint. You really need a system and a process to consolidate and be able to track, measure, manage performance. So when you're approaching retirement, you think to yourself, oh, I'll have all this free time in retirement. I'll be able to track all these things down. Even with the free time, and even with today's wonderful technology, it can still be very challenging to manage across multiple platforms. So you really want to drill into these different accounts and account types and see how and where you can consolidate, where it makes most sense, where it's easy to manage and you're very familiar and comfortable with the technology you're using. Now, next on the list, insurance you no longer need. When you're working, you do need to protect your future earnings potential, right? This is why term insurance is so popular, and a lot of companies have group insurance policies. And the way you think about that is if you're 20 years out from retirement, you're earning $100,000 per year, you really need to protect yourself for several $1,000,000 potentially, because if you pass away, those future earnings are dollars your family will no longer see. So during your working years, this is extremely important to have the proper insurance coverage from a life insurance standpoint. When you move into retirement, you've already accumulated your wealth and savings, and you may no longer need life insurance. There are strategies for legacy planning purposes, or maybe you have specific goals where it does make sense, but it's very common that I see life insurance just really doesn't have the same place or role in a comprehensive financial plan when somebody enters into the retirement stage of their life. So reviewing those policies is going to be super important. On the insurance topic, I will say liability insurance is still extremely important. So on the flip side, where you think, maybe life insurance isn't as important anymore, when you're thinking about umbrella coverage, absolutely it is. Liability insurance is extremely important in retirement. And I sometimes see that being overlooked. People, didn't have the time to maybe manage or think about their finances the way they should have while they're working and busy. As you enter retirement, you've got to go through these insurance checks. Generally, we see what people don't need from an insurance standpoint, but what you do need, again, liability insurance to protect those assets you've worked so hard to build. Number 4 is a pretty challenging topic. It's about our home. Some of us have homes that we purchased and owned when we were building and growing a family. Some homes just have very high carrying costs, very high taxes, very high maintenance, or they're older and need renovations. This can be tricky, but when you're retiring, you really want to focus on the fit of the home that you have. Does it make sense to carry this property and do those renovations and really remodel and update it to be a good fit for you in retirement? Or does it make more sense to move and downsize? This is a financial question. It's also a lifestyle and quality of life question, because at the end of the day, many people out there, many of the people we run into, they are financially fit to continue carrying their property. And when that's the case, it's really more the quality of life, what makes sense for you and your lifestyle. But there are also many people who really are stretching their budget to maintain this property because they're comfortable in it and very used to it, but it just doesn't make sense for their situation in life. And homes are a very large expense item when we look at cash flow statements. So, double click and think, is this the right fit for me now that I'm retiring? Is there something more comfortable that's going to give me more peace of mind by downsizing? Tough question, but an important one. The last item is the just in case mindset. And, this bleeds a little bit into the item number 4 we discussed, which is both financial and quality of life. This just in case mindset, same thing too. It relates to finances, quality of life. We see people saying, I'm going to work one more year just in case, or the markets are a little rocky, so I'm going to work until they settle out just in case. I'm going to wait to take that trip later just in case the markets will be doing better. My portfolio, I'll have more income, this or that. Putting things off and having that just in case barrier that kind of prevents you from enjoying and maximizing some of your retirement years and your goals, that can absolutely be a problem. Here's the truth. There will always be uncertainty in markets, taxes, healthcare, everything else. The purpose of creating these financial plans and thinking about retirement financially and from a quality of life standpoint, it's to build confidence. So you don't have to have that just in case mindset. You can step into your goals and start living out those activities that you've been just waiting to do. So if your plan shows you can retire comfortably and your cash flow and your contingency reserves are in place, the next step isn't more saving, it's more living. I often remind clients, you didn't work 30 or 40 years just to keep waiting for that perfect moment. The moment rarely arrives. You just need to get rid of the just in case mindset and rely on the data, the numbers, the planning, the mathematics of building that retirement plan out. And then you have to get your mindset right about what retirement will really look like when you officially let go of your career. So going back through the list again, high interest debt, we want to get rid of this. Account clutter, simplify your finances, insurance policies. Fourth on the list, the home. Again, tough discussion, but we really need to think through, is it a right fit for us when we're in retirement? And then number 5, that just in case mindset. You've got to make the most of your retirement and your healthy years. Live life to the fullest and enjoy retirement. So eliminating these doesn't just improve your finances, it really improves your quality of life. You'll sleep better knowing you have a plan, things are organized, everything's aligned. So before you retire, take the time, clear these items out, try to get organized, because when your financial house is in order, your retirement can focus on what's most important and meant to be: freedom, purpose, peace of mind. If you'd like help reviewing your plan and identifying some steps to simplify before you retire, feel free to book a meeting with my team and I. We'd be happy to go through the numbers and talk to you about some best practices. Either way, I hope you found some value and good perspective from this video. Thank you for watching.